So let's just settle into our meditation posture as best you can. And just knowing that however it is you're turning up this evening, it's all completely fine. So no matter what's been going on in your life today, again, it's completely fine. So let's just settle. Take a nice deep breath and check your posture. Just go through it on your own as best you can. And just align the spine, shoulders, the hips, lengthen the spine. And then just go to the crown of the head and release any tension from the top of the scalp all the way down to your toes. Take a nice deep breath. And just take a moment to reflect on your day. And what was your motivation for coming this evening? And just check in. How are you feeling now you're here? So just notice if there's sounds in your environment. Try not to follow those sounds with the mind. Just allow them to be there. Then bring the mind to the breath and just notice what's arising. And perhaps we can categorize our thoughts: anger, attachment, memories, projections, planning. Allow them to arise and look at them with an objective mind. And then just place yourself by the bank of your river. And just notice all the qualities of that river. Is it wide? Is it narrow? Is it shallow? Maybe it's a creek, a little stream. Is it clear? Can you see stones and rocks in the bottom? Is it still? Perhaps the trees are able to reflect. And then just realize that while you're sitting on the bank, you're looking at it, you're free from that river. So bring to mind all the people of your life, starting with our loved ones, children, spouses, grandchildren, cousins, aunties, uncles, grandparents, our best friends. All these very dear people in our lives. And then those people in our life who are difficult for us, who we have aversion for. And then there's the strangers. We don't care too much about them. We don't know their name. Pass them by. Barely remember. What was that person wearing? No, has no impact on us. Curiously, it is possible that they can all change place at any time. And you might want to reflect briefly on maybe a situation in your life where that has happened. Maybe Did you meet a stranger in 2019 who's now a very, very dear friend? Something like that. And does we do this night after night. I'm just wondering if the person that, or the aversion that we have, the strangers, do they bounce around, or is it the same person every night? Or different people coming in that maybe have irritated you during the day? That's interesting just to note how unstable our minds really are. Well, I laugh at myself sometimes. I'm just like, I thought that person was going to annoy me forever, but they didn't. And someone else took their place. And then think all these people, though, they're just equal, and they're the same as you and me, and they wish to be happy, they wish to be free from suffering, and in having this unbelievable capacity for this enlightened mind. So I think we'll do this meditation this evening for the benefit of all these people of our life, and by extension, all sentient beings. So I think there is no negativity that cannot be purified, and this purification process is basically a psychological one. So we're creating negativity with our mind. It's our mind. So, we have, although we don't think we do, but we do have control over our mind. So equally, we can create positivity instead. We have the power to do that. As we were saying in the last session, though, we need to recognize what's in the mind before we know what it is we need to change. But it takes a little bit of time working all this out, but we get there eventually. So we start with the power of regret. So this is one way of doing it, this purification practice. So we sincerely regret from the depths of our heart anything that we might have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all past lives. And you can think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason we're regretting is based on this logic of karma, and we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. And so having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. So we don't want any more of the suffering that we've already experienced in our life up till now. So in order to deal with that, we pull out those karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. We turn to the Buddha, the doctor, who has the methods we can use to purify. And it's not that we're needing the Buddha to forgive us, we're purifying ourselves by relying upon his medicine, his methods. So you can imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. And you can also imagine that this is your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. So as we always say every evening, here we have this tanka, this image of a tanka, photograph of a tanka. And it looks flat. It's different kinds of paints, but actually really is just a depiction, just to help us remember, to become familiar with this image. It also creates positive imprints on the mind to look at something like that. But now we can imagine something similar on the crown of your head, a blissful, radiant, white light body, like a hologram. It's light, a couple of inches above the crown of your head, facing the same way as you. So it's made of radiant light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. and a beautiful radiant face, beaming, so happy to see you. And all those other people in your life as well, even the ones you don't like. And his eyes are long, they're shaped like lotus petals. He has a sweet red mouth, his hair is black and held up in a top knot. His left arm is underneath the right, the left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being cross represents enlightenment, the union of these two, infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings. So this is part of reliance, this little section here. This is where we are now, the second opponent power, reliance. So think of someone that you've harmed and try and develop in your heart a wish for them to be free from suffering. And then think of someone who's harmed you. And particularly for these people, a wish for them to be free from suffering, because the harm they've caused you is going to ripen as suffering for them in the future. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. So now we come to the power of the remedy. This is the medicine, doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose or a waterfall, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body is completely purified, and think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. So the next is the purification of our speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra. And this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, which overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So I just imagine all the gossip, the harsh speech and the inappropriate speech and useless speech and lying and talking badly about others behind their backs, getting other people to agree with you. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Om Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe. So now feel so happy that your speech is completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech, even yourself. So every word that falls out of your mouth can be helpful to someone, that you have the wisdom to know exactly the right thing to say in the right moment, whether it's wrathful, whether it's peaceful, but somehow that it will benefit the mind that hears it. So next is the purification of the mind, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So when you go into a room and you flick on a switch, that light dispels the darkness. And often we're thinking about, oh, I'll just go and turn on the light, but actually we're dispelling darkness if it's a pitch black room. So it's the same here. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, so all your attachment and neediness and grasping and bitterness and judgments, jealousy, grudges, all of this dispelled. Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anorakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatasawa, Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriam Kuruhum, Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tatagata Vajamami Mutta Vajabawa, Mahasamaya Sapa A Hompe, Ambajasapa Samaya Manupalaya, Bajasapa Dina Patita, Dida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anorakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatasawa, Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajamami Mutta Vajabawa Mahasamaya Sapa A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajamami Mutta Vajabawa Mahasamaya Sapa A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajabawa Mahasamaya Satva A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anorakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe, Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasapa Dina Patita, Dida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anorakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajabawa Mahasamaya Satva A Hum Pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our unsuffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified, and think there is no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So next we purify even the imprints of negativity from the body, speech, and mind. So this time you imagine Vajrasattva sends light and nectar, fills you completely and eradicates even the subtlest imprints, even the subtlest sort of energetic imprint of negative energy from your mind. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajabawa Mahasamaya Sapa A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta gata vajrabawa mahasamaya satva ahompe. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dinapatita. Dida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mempi yato sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam karuhum ha 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 ho bhagavan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satva ahompe. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya, vajrasapa dinapatita, dida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mempi yato sawa kama sita me, Sitam Shriyam Karuhum ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva hum pe. So now feel completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. So now we come to the power of resolve. And this is the fourth and very crucial step in this purification process. But it's very simple, actually. We just have to decide that that's what we want to do. Some habits are harder to break than others, but it starts with that very first decision. I want to refrain from harming with my body, my speech, and my mind, myself and others. So we just decide and think about something that you'd like to work on, and within a reasonable timeline. Don't make it too difficult. And just know that we are human and we have habits, and it takes time. We just have to be persistent, chipping away slowly, slowly, and then eventually one day you'll realize, oh, I'm not doing that thing anymore. Wow, when did that happen? So like that, we just keep moving. So imagine Vajrasattva is delighted with us, wanting to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And think my guru's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same thing. So just a little bit about emptiness, however you understand it. Think, in emptiness there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while. You can think in this way of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. You can also think that the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So we're constantly questioning our assumptions, our ideas of the way the world is. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy we've created doing this purification practice to all living beings, to all the people of our life, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So now before we leave, just think, maybe, is there somebody in your practice? Do you have a teacher? Make strong prayers for their long life so you can think of His holiness. Maybe think of Lama Zopa Rinpoche's swift return in the form of a mistaken reincarnation. And so anyone who is your teacher, make a strong wish for them to have a long life. Okay, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. Email me if you want to come tomorrow morning at 6:30 Pacific time. And we'll do a few Guru Rinpoche prayers together. And for those of you who came last week, it's the same link. Every time it's the same link. Okay. All right, everybody. Alexis, thank you so much for hosting. And everybody, good night. Lots of love. And I'll see you on Monday. Or maybe I'll see some of you tomorrow. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.